everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Wednesday today and I'm here with a technique for you. I'm a little earlier than normal because I have an event going on tonight. And so I wanted to jump on and share this technique. I love heat embossing, and so sometimes we used to have embossing powder in all sorts of colors, not just the white, the clear, the black, the gold, silver, and copper. We used to be able to get it in real red and all sorts of colors, and I miss that. But there's a way to create that kind of same look as if you had heat embossed using a specific color. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm sure there's other ways to do that, but I'm going to show you the way that I do that. Hey Bonnie, welcome. I'm making a card using the Sign Design bundle, and you may not have seen this one. I think this is a hidden gem in the mini catalog or the online exclusives. I think it's an online exclusive, but I think it's a hidden gem. It's a punch and stamp set bundle. I love punches, and it's got sentiments for all sorts of occasions. I'm using the one for Christmas. It's merry and bright, but there's a Happy New Year, a season of thanks. You can combine some of the sentiments, and it's really cute. So let me switch over to my desktop and I'm going to show you how to make this card. All right, so this is the Sign Design bundle. Like I said, so it comes with this great punch in the shape of a sign. You may have seen me use this punch because it really coordinates nicely with the sentiments from the Light and Wonder stamp set, which is part of the Lights of Aurora. It's got those sentiments have got the same shape to them. Can't say that. But this is the stamp set that comes with it. This is the one I'm using today. It's got just a outline that you can stamp and then punch out, and then lots of great sentiments. And so you can combine these, whether you use these on the inside of your card, some of these, or whether you stamp. So Season of Thanks, Trick or Treat, and then this one goes, May Your Day Be Sweet. So that actually fits on the inside of here. So lots of ways you can combine this, but I really like this the solid stamped image where the negative of the image or the sentiment is actually white. Okay, so that's the bundle that I'm using. I'm also using this gorgeous, this is called Christmas Tags and More Specialty Christmas Tags and More Mix and Match Specialty Designer Series paper. You get, there's 48 sheets, and so I actually think you get 6 of each of these. So this one can be cut down into tags, and if you joined us on the virtual launch, this is what we used for one of the make and takes. So you can cut this down to 2 inches by 3 inches and get 6 pieces. And look at this pretty garden green check. This can be cut down into a card front and then another piece, and on the other side you've got kind of mistletoe, again another card front with ornaments, and then a side piece that you can trim down. This is a very soft sea foam. So you can use this, doesn't have to be for Christmas, just based on these. This is my favorite. I love this checked with the red and so it's real red, garden green, basic beige, soft sea foam, and white. So pretty. And then on the other side you've got kind of snowflake design. So that's the piece I'm using today. The other thing that you get in this set is ephemera. So you get, I think there's 2 sheets of each of these ephemera that you can punch out and use on your cards. Talk about a really easy way to make some great Christmas cards for the season just by using the ephemera. And of course the cardstock and designer series paper, all of that. Okay, so let me pull in my paper trimmer. So I've got a piece of real red that's 4 1/4 by 11, and we're going to score that at 5 1/2. And then we'll grab the bone folder and fold into the mountain and give it a really good burnish with your bone folder. Okay. So I've got a piece of basic white. So this is going to be my first layer. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I cut a piece of this designer series paper, 3 3/4 by 4. So what I'm going to do is I've cut it in half. 3 3/4 by 5. And I've cut each of these pieces to be 2.5 by 3 3/4, and so it's going to layer on to the piece of basic white. Let's get one that doesn't have a clog in it. You know, you'd think I'd learn. I am so bad. I thought I was getting so much better at closing up my glue, but I seem to leave it open more often than not. So that's where my take your pick tool comes in very handy, just to get that, there we go, clog out. If you don't have a take your pick tool, oh gosh, it's my go-to tool. What I love about it, let's get that on first. What I love about it is, this is my favorite, is the piercing tool, and I call it the pokey tool. On the other end of this is a spatula, and then it comes, this is putty so that you can pick up little pieces, and then it comes with another piece that you can unscrew this whole thing and put its styluses in. So it's really great. And then there's a whole separate I think there's 2 different tools that you could add on. One does perforating and all sorts of things, and then there's another tool that actually is a brush and things for your embossing and getting the little bits out of the die cuts. But my favorite is this pokey tool. I use it all the time. So I'm just adhering these pieces of designer series paper on, just flipping them over and just butting them up against one another so that I get the 2 different patterns. And if you don't get them quite butted up against each other, that's okay. We're going to put some ribbon over top of that, which I didn't, oh yes I did grab. There we go. So this is the shiny, real red shiny ribbon, or shiny real red ribbon that's part of the Traditions of Christmas suite. So I'm just going to take a piece and cut it about 6 inches. And again, I didn't fill up my Stampin' Seal, so I'm going to use tear and tape for this. I usually use Stampin' Seal just to make sure that my ribbon is adhered down nice and strong so it doesn't come off or pull out from the edge from underneath. So we're just going to take, and this is just hiding that seam. And again, usually I use Stampin' Seal and go right over top of my ribbon, but because I don't have it filled, we'll use tear and tape. And again, my pokey tool to get the backing off. If you could pick one tool, and I guess a Stampin' Cut and Emboss. I don't know, if I had to pick one tool, including a Stampin' Cut and Emboss, I probably would choose the Stampin' Cut and Emboss tool. But I would say this pokey tool would be my absolute second most loved tool and used tool. All right, okay, so there's the card base, pretty easy. Now let's get on and do some of that embossing. So I've got a piece of basic white, and I've got some real red ink, and I've got my Marion Bright. See how fun that is? I love how that is fun. I just really love it. Now, if you're going to emboss this, I want to emboss the whole thing so it's all shiny. You could just sprinkle over I've got some clear embossing powder, so you could just sprinkle over top of it, but I find that our ink dries so quickly, you often don't have enough time oopsie, I lost a light here, there we go. You don't have enough time to put your embossing powder on and have it stick before it all dries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp that I just used, and I've turned it over. So now I've got the back side of it, which is bigger. Well, I guess it's not bigger, but anyway, now I'm going to just take and stamp right over top of my my Merry and Bright. And it's just that solid background. And now I can take and put some clear embossing powder right over top. Now, if you have a stamp that you can't do that with, say an animal, which, you know, it goes opposite. This one I can do this technique with, because the whether I have it one way or the other, it doesn't matter. But sometimes if you've got animals and things, you can't actually do that. So what you can do is take just a bigger image or even a clear block and ink up and stamped right over top. As long as you're going to punch it out, die cut it out, or stamp it out, cut it out, you're okay to do this. And now I can take my heat tool, hold it over my embossing, and you can see it start to go. It definitely brightens up. It gets shiny. And we'll just, once it starts to go, you can just kind of move it around. There we go. And I don't know if you can see how, there you go. You can see how shiny and glossy that whole thing is. So it works really well if you've got a stamp that you can actually just turn it over. We do have reversible stamps, but as long as it's one like this that got a solid back to it and it doesn't have a shape that, you know, matters, this works really well. So I just want that to be dry, which it is, and I might have to cut this a little bit just so I can get it into my punch. I love how shiny it is. So you get a little bit of a background on that one, but I have a nice bright shiny image. Now what I want is, I'm going to punch out another one of these out of Garden Green. Now if I put those one on top of the other, you're not going to see the Garden Green, but this one has a nice white border that is really easy just to trim off using your paper snip. So I'm just going to take and just fussy cut this, just taking that white edge off, and that allows me to pop this up on my Garden Green. I love heat embossing. And there's all sorts of tricks and tips with heat embossing. So the other thing you could do is, if you wanted to, you could stamp an image and then stamp it using clear and then do some emboss resist. It wouldn't work for this one with the words, but that's another way to do this. Now let's just pop this up a little bit. I just love how pretty this card is. Now you can see what I did here, and I'm so careful about putting my dimensionals on so my label doesn't wobble, but I clearly didn't do that, so I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on there because it just was kind of wobbling. I don't like that. There we go. Now it's not wobbling. Okay, I want to tie a bow. Now this is shiny ribbon, so I want to, the way that I found to do this so that the shiny part of the ribbon shows, is to tie it like bunny ears. Now this isn't the way I normally tie my bows, but if you tie it the way I normally tie it, you'll have to do all sorts of twisting and holding and keep your tongue in the right way, and I just find that it doesn't work. So bunny ears works better because I'm kind of keeping the shiny parts out. And then let's try that again. I'm not very good at tying bunny ears. Some people, this is the only way they tie bows, not one that I do. So hang on to the 2 loops. And now you can see you still have to twist this a little bit because I've got a shiny tail and a kind of a matte finish tail. But if I just take and twist this tail as I'm pulling it to tie it, like to pull it tight, don't want it quite so big. There we go. So now I have my shiny parts. The only part of this that is that matte finish is the whatever that's called, the loop that's kind of the middle of my bow. What do you call that? Somebody can tell me what you call that. I love this ribbon. I love how shiny it is. It goes really nicely now that I've embossed my sentiment. So this is going to look a bit like a Christmas present, because I'm going to put my bow, just use a glue dot and just put my bow kind of right like that. And somewhere I have a piece of basic white that is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I've got a little scrap of that same, my favorite of the designer series paper, 3/4 of an inch by 4, that we can just put on the bottom. All right. Now I have to put some embellishments on because it's not a, oopsie, that kind of, can I do it? Can I do it? Yep, pretty close. That's the thing about liquid glue. 1, put the lid on so you don't get a clog in it. And 2, it will move around, give you a little wiggle room, but sometimes it can move when you don't want it to move. Now, one of my favorite embellishments that is part of the online exclusives, it's part of the Elegant Pine Snowflakes bundle, are these faceted snowflakes, and I'm going to use the ones that are red. They go really nicely with cherry cobbler as well, but they look lovely with real red. So they come in the red, the shaded spruce, and then the white ones as well. And if you haven't seen the Elegant Pine Snowflakes bundle, it is so pretty. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So there we go. There's the card with that nice, shiny, glossy sentiment that I heat embossed. Pretty card, pretty easy card. Easy to make a bunch of those using the Christmas tags mix and match specialty paper. That's a mouthful. All right, I was going to tell you about the Elegant Pine Snowflakes suite, which is an online exclusive. I am partnering with my friend Lorraine Tierney, who is in the United States, and we are doing an online retreat stamp camp on November 30th. And so the way that you can be part of that stamp camp is to purchase the suite or some product. There's a couple of options of how you could do this. The suite, and you get everything you need, plus a make and take package. The product, plus a make and take package, or just the PDF. You can purchase through my online store, actually through I have a Google form that you can sign up, and I will order it and have it sent to you, and I will mail you. Fingers crossed the Canada Post mail strike will be over by mid-November. I will mail you the make and take package. So it's November 30th, and the information is all on my Google form, and the link is on my Facebook page and group, as well as I sent it out in a newsletter. And if you're interested, please leave a comment or reach out to me by email. If you don't live in Canada and you want to participate, you live in the United States, you can purchase this or participate by purchasing the online retreat through Lorraine, and the information, the link to her Google form is on my Google form. If that makes any sense at all. So November 30th, it's the Elegant Pine Snowflakes. The other thing I wanted to mention is hopefully you've seen this, is the join specials going on starting today. Oh my gosh, I've never seen a join special like this. I thought the deal was good when I signed up almost 15 years ago, but this is amazing. For $48, no shipping, there is tax in some provinces, you can get $135 of product of your choice by joining my team. Or if you have a wish list that's higher than $165. If you have a wish list higher than that, you can pay $135, no shipping, and get $252 in product. And if you're not in Canada, you can check the demonstrators in your area for what the amounts that you get and what the cost would be for you. But if you're interested, like I said, this is an amazing deal. I have never seen such a deal, and it's only available through the end of October. Yeah, it's a great thing It's a great deal. I signed up almost 15 years ago for the discount, and I have stayed because this amazing Stampin' Up! Community and stamping community. I have made friends all across Canada and around the world because of stamping, and so if that's something that appeals to you, that's definitely my main reason for sticking around. I just love the community that I'm part of. If you're interested, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to give you some more information. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Now, I won't be live on Saturday. I have another event, but I will be live on Sunday at 12 noon, so come